And I find it fascinating. I have never seen a wave of atheists turning to God the way I have in recent years. And
yeah, that's for sure.
It really is fascinating. And for them, because they're very analytical, very based in like sort of like, what can I see, measure, feel, and touch, right? And for them, the thing that turns them is not historical evidence. It's not things like that. The thing that has been turning them is just simply visually watching the world around them move and feeling the evil that is coming forth in the United States from the left primarily. And that has been moving.
Yeah, and you
people.
put your finger on that. You put your finger on that with regards to the war on children. I mean, I haven't seen anything worse in my entire life. And I've spent, so personally, what I've seen firsthand, but also what I've investigated historically, I don't think I've ever seen anything worse than the in relationship to children. Like that rivals or exceeds anything I only fortunately read about in relationship, say, to Auschwitz. But it also rivals the worst of the Japanese atrocities in China, which were the worst things that I'd ever come across historically. And so it's a level of pathology that I would have regarded as inconceivable, especially with regards to both the medical and the psychological community. Like, as far as I can tell, what the medical community is doing to children, and we know now it's about 8,000 young women, as far as I can tell, that is literally a crime against humanity. That minors cannot provide informed consent to procedures like that. Anyone with any sense understands that. If informed consent means anything, it means that minors cannot consent, and yet no one's being prosecuted, not to the degree they should have. And we know that the scale of this is much wider than this mere 8,000 girls, merely. Like, it's a terrible number of people. We've turned the country upside down for far less consequential occurrences than that. And so, like, I can't characterize that as anything other than evil. And, we should leave that term for when it's actually useful. And that does point to something moving below the surface that's more than merely political. And there is a transformation of belief in the air. There's no doubt about that. And it is, in large part for the reasons that you're describing. Okay, so delve it a bit more into the faith element, if you would. And where did you move in Tennessee?
So we're just outside of Nashville. We went full farm. We've got a farm. Yeah, we've got cattle. We've got chickens. We went big. We were like, we're going to change our life. We're going to change our life. We're going to drink raw milk. We're going to have cows. We're going to do the whole thing. I think it's something interesting as you were speaking. I never gave much credence to the idea of parallel universes. It just seemed kind of, complex. But then again, I don't doubt God's ability to create complex things, right? But the change you're describing that happened around those Obama years in the United States, at times I almost wonder if we slipped into a parallel universe, because the things that you were just describing are so absurd. 8,000 women, many girls having double mastectomies.
Those are all girls. Those are all girls.
All
Those
under
are all
18.
Minors, the 8,000 figure. All of them, 8,000 under 18. That's not the full total of the double mastectomies. That's just minors in the U.S.
8,000 children. And, I've interviewed one of them, Layla Jane, who at 13 had hers. The only answer I have is evil or a parallel universe.
Yeah, well, it's not only, it's even worse than that. Because it's not only that these procedures, which are experimental and sadistic, and profit-oriented and ideologically addled and cruel and counterproductive and rife with side effects. And but it's not only that those are being conducted en masse, lied about. This is something that never happens. It's like, no, it's happening, and it's happening a lot.